All right, we're live. It's lock and load, and that one of those sounds was an SKS. Uh, that's the one because it's kind of
There we
been
go.
hell on Texas. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and SKSs, and we were talking about on Matt's chat about you tricking out. You going to put a scope on your SKS?
I thought about it, and I know I'm cycling much more than I should have, but it's my SKS. I like my SKS. Unfortunately, I can only use brass in it, but oh well.
What's
I
the
got it to
steel?
be a cheap rifle, and it only likes brass ammo.
You can't shoot steel out of it.
I can't shoot steel because the polymer on the polymer coated steel sticks in the chamber, and with the brass that doesn't do it. So I'm using
So
brass from now
it's
on.
not chrome lined or anything
It
fancy.
is chrome lined. It's a Chinese
All right.
rifle. All the Chinese rifles were chrome lined. It's the problem is there's probably something wrong with the chamber. It's probably out of spec just by like a small, minute amount.
Hmm.
No.
Well,
Anyways,
so obviously in
anyways,
Texas,
I'm using brass, so it doesn't matter.
so is your ammo's a little more expensive. I take it.
Well, I've got a lot of surplus ammo too, so if I have to, I can use some of that corrosive stuff, and it's all brass. And
Are you allowed to you shoot corrosive ammo in your state? I know California is uh is a non a lead free kind of a place, but how's it in South Carolina?
you do realize this is the South, right?
Well,
I know you're from behind the lines land, and you guys don't understand the rest of America, but this is South Carolina. They don't fucking care.
they don't care. All right.
They don't care.
Well,
And I'm
that's
not using it to hunt with. I'm just using it to plank with.
all right. What do you have to hunt where you live?
Well,
Yeah, do you
I've
have game
got
animals out there?
a lot of the ammunition I've been buying lately for the SKS. I don't want to use any of my surplus right now. I just been buying a lot of soft points. The what do you call it? The Federal Fusion 7.62 by 39.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I have
know,
some of that. That's
but
pretty
basically
good.
it's basically a full metal jacket with just the tip being lead and soft. So we're using that and
But
those.
you have game animals out there in South Carolina to hunt.
Well, yeah, we've got deer, we got turkey, we got gator, of course.
Yeah, that might be overkill for a turkey, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's why I got a shotgun.
But yeah,
Eh.
deer would be okay.
We also have wild hog,
Yeah,
and then
Harold,
there's coyote. So
a deer would taste better than wild hog, I think. But I guess if you're a good enough cook and buried enough barbecue sauce. So,
I don't know. I think a wild hog would be pretty good if you did it right.
well, they tend to taste like what they eat. So it depends where you know what the vegetation was like around where you live. So like here, you probably catch one that tastes like fern because that's where they mostly run around the fern in the jungles. So it would taste like the plants where they root around in. So
Right. No, I think it'd be all right.
like I said, lots of barbecue sauce.
Well,
But
we're known for barbecue sauce down here. We've got that yellow style barbecue sauce, which is like a mustard base instead of like a ketchup base like everybody else uses.
so is
So,
that Cajun kind of like or
no, it's strictly indicative of South Carolina because I was eating at the local barbecue place a while back, and some guys came out of town in his truck with a giant Lone Star on it,
there's
and
I hope you have a good ribs joint near you.
yeah, they do ribs too, but they do a lot of pulled pork, and the Texans came in and they saw, they're eating it. And they're like, this stuff isn't barbecue sauce. And someone, one of the other one piped in and said, yeah, it is. It's South Carolina barbecue. And they go, this ain't barbecue. Because they're so used to eating the regular, the sweet red barbecue sauce. And, they haven't had, the yellow mustard based barbecue sauce that they have that's strictly indicative of South Carolina.
Well, that's
So
one good reason to visit South Carolina. But
Yeah.
we need to talk a little bit about Texas. So, what did you think when you heard that the shooter in Texas used an SKS? Since you
I
have,
want to know what kind of optics he's running.
well, I mean, did
I
he
mean, if
do
he was
anything
doing it
besides
straight
the
with iron sights,
Yeah.
then he is the sole exception from the Monty Python reference. He must have been really looking down the right pair of sights in order to hit each and every cop.
Well, I mean, but
You
he
saw that
must.
Monty Python skit, right?
I know I've seen one. I've seen lots of Monty Python. I remember I piss in your general direction.
No, I fart in your general direction.
I
No,
fart in your general direction.
this is from Flying Circus, and the surmise of it, there's this dude who's just going camping and hitchhiking all across the world. He's an English guy. Apparently, he pisses off the Soviets, and the Soviets decide to put him in prison, and they're going to execute them. And the joke is that every time they go to execute him, the firing squad misses because they're not looking down the right portion of the SKS sights. And so the commander comes in and brings them the rifle and says, so they're looking down this sight and they're trying to shoot straight and hit something, but it's not working. Do you have any idea? And he's like, well, yeah, you're looking down the wrong sight. You got to look down the rear one. Otherwise you won't hit anything at all. He's like, okay, we'll try that.
I must have missed that part of Monty Python. I thought it was about
it's the Flying Circus. It's the TV show.
You're talking about the TV
show. I'll link it. You'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah. If you enjoy Monty Python, they're pretty funny, just in general.
Well, I like Benny Hill better, but I remember the movie. So, but yeah, you're saying
it's same style of comedy. It's hilarious.
Is Benny Hill or
no? It's the movies.
Okay. All right.
So. But it was an SKS reference. I had to make it.
Yeah. So, but what did you think when you heard it was an SKS that was used?
I'm like, how do they know it was an SKS? Are they sure it wasn't an AK with a pistol grip and whatnot?
Can't tell the difference between an SKS and an AK. I mean,
I don't.
they said it was an AR. I mean, first they said it was an AR. It went from AR to black rifle issue to SKS in just a heartbeat.
They I don't know if they actually know what kind of rifle it was. It could have been like a Krinkov for all we know.
They said it was an SKS. I mean, and they,
and they're never wrong.
Yes, and I saw on TV today the Dallas police chief was, trying to get the Black Lives protesters to join the police force.
Well, that's one way to make your enemy your friend.
Well, yeah, make him have to swear an oath to follow your orders, But
well, he's black himself, so I don't see what the problem is.
I know. It was just seems strange to me, but
I mean, why are you shooting cops when the guy in charge of the department is black himself?
Well, why are you shooting cops at all? I mean, there's no good reason. They didn't do anything wrong to anybody. They woke up, they went to work after putting their uniforms on, and some guy wanted to shoot white cops because of what happened in Louisiana and Baton Rouge, And there have been cops with itchy trigger fingers since forever. I mean,
especially that one guy in South Carolina.
What happened in South Carolina? Did I miss
it? Was about a few years ago, but a guy was told to get his license and registration out, and he couldn't do it from where his license was situated in his vehicle. So he had to get out of his truck to get his license out and hand it to the police officer. And the police officer just pulled out his gun and started shooting him. And he's like, "What? I was giving you my license. Why did you shoot me? Why did you shoot me?" The entire time. And I'll tell you what, that guy went to jail. That cop went to jail faster than.
Well, I've been in different situations with cops, and one time when I was a kid, I was going to see a relative who had just been getting out of the military. So I was driving to a military base in my Camaro, and I did a lane change, and it turns out there was a cop right in my blind spot. Pacing me, and I didn't see him, so I almost ran him off the road. But he was in my blind spot intentionally. So we
Well, then
pulled.
you could have called him on that.
Well, he pulls me over, and tells me to, so I stop. Take the exit and stop, and he tells me, asks me for my driver's license and registration, and so I say, okay. I reach into the center console, and so I happen to have like the super thin fishing knife in there, fillet knife, and so he's like, get out of the car, get out of the car, and like he's all panic, and he draws his gun. So I get out of the car, and he says like, so he says like, stand, and he's basically, put both hands on the hood of your car, and then it says, I'm gonna search your car. I was like, whatever.
I would say, honestly, you shouldn't have let him do that, because he's not allowed to search your car without a warrant.
The knife was probable cause.
So, the knife is never probable cause.
Well, it was for him. What was it? He had a gun and I didn't, and he was pointing it at me. So I got out of the car because he had a gun. Okay. And besides that, this was when I was like 18 or something. So
and when he didn't know better.
And so anyway, so he finds this little film canister, and it has like razors and matches, waterproof matches taped on the outside of it. And so he's like, sure, he has me for drugs or something. So I just tell him, dude, that's a survival kit I made in my high school biology class. So he takes it apart and starts looking through it, and he sees it's just a survival kit, and in the film canister. So I just asked, are you done now? And so, he said, well, I've got you for 2 things, and I'm just going to write you for, speeding or something. So I was like, whatever, man. But so the next time I got pulled over by a cop in Malibu, I told him before I went, this is when I had a Mustang by then, because I was big Macher hoity. I had my Mustang GT convertible, and it was red. And so, yeah, the cop pulled me over, and next time I told him there was a knife in the center console. So I told him, like, don't freak out on me or anything. All right. But there's a knife in there, if you want. My registration's in there too, So he's like, okay. And he puts his hand on his gun, but he doesn't draw it or freak out. And I, just reach for the registration and give it to him. Then there was another time where I was pulled over where I actually had my 1911, in the passenger seat, but I was such a messy person. I was coming home from work, and it was buried under a bunch of business papers, so nobody could see it. It just looked like there was a bunch of papers on the floor in the passenger seat, and underneath all that was my loaded 1911. But he didn't search the car. I was wearing my business suit, and I had jeans, my suit, and a shirt and a tie, and so I guess I looked semi-respectable because he didn't, but why would anybody just start looking for papers? There was just a regular traffic stop. It was like, what was it? I think I was just drifting around all over the lane. It was late night, and he thought I was drunk or something, because I was laughing at him when he did that thing where he slows. They go up by your car, and they, slow down and, look you over. And I was like, whatever. But I was just going home from work, and I was tired. So if I wandered over the fog line or something, he just let me go without a ticket for that. But I definitely tell him, if they want me to reach into a console and they know there's a knife in there or something, I will tell them first, because of my experience. And I don't keep a survival kit in my car anymore, because I'll have a bag, my everyday carry bag, and that'll have to do, but I don't, keep a survival kit in my car. At least if I did, I wouldn't put it in the center console or someplace that I would have to reach if I was pulled over, because if they see razor blades or some matches all taped, they'll think it's drugs, and do some kind of a search or something. But so, yeah, hey, and I'm white Jewish guy, so I guess I'll never know what it's like to be black in America. I won't. But I'm still careful whenever a cop pulls you over. You want to appear as harmless as possible, and if you have you have a knife, I'll tell him, because I always
So,
carry a knife.
are we gonna have one of those tinfoil hat conversations? Because if we do, I need to break out my tinfoil yarmulke.
Oh, yeah, definitely break out your tinfoil yarmulke because you know obviously, what's tinfoil about this conversation, though? I mean,
I'm just asking just to make sure, so I don't have to go out and grab it later on.
well, go grab it.
And that's the joke. I am Catholic. I don't have a tinfoil yarmulke. I'd have to make one on the spot.
Well, hey, not everybody can be Jewish, but we won't get into the Bible and stuff, so because that'll just bore
Yeah,
everyone to death.
that was stretching it last week. Don't do that again this week.
Well, I did it on your show and not mine, so
Yeah, don't do it on my show this week. All right.
okay.
So
well, it seemed appropriate. I thought it was in context, but as far as this goes, this is just
I think the problem is that I don't know if law enforcement is actively participating in the community or if they're just keeping them to themselves and doing their job. Because I would say if they were more active in the community as individuals, or
you know what really struck me is I listened to Bobby Kennedy speeches, and it's on YouTube when he got on the back of a pickup truck and he gave a speech after Martin Luther King was assassinated, and he gave a really good speech, and he and he ended it with something that the Greek said was some kind of quote that said to soothe the savage heart of man and make peaceful the way of the world. And President Obama just goes out and stirs racial divisions, and he doesn't, for someone was educated. I mean, the first thing I thought of was Bobby Kennedy when this happened, and I went to YouTube and played his speech, and I encourage everybody to listen to what he said, because it was just I can't speak as eloquently as he did, and I'm not even going to try and paraphrase what he said, but if you really want to know what Obama should have done, go listen to what Bobby Kennedy said after Martin Luther King was assassinated. There's quite a few recordings of it on YouTube, and it was just, it's really worth listening to. But that's when it just seemed to me like Obama was trying to stir racial divisions to get Hillary more votes, because he knows,
and to get guns banned faster.
Well, he wants Hillary to win mainly, and so that's why I think he's stirring racial division, because he wants he wants to, if he draws the lines like that, then he thinks he can grab more votes for his side. I mean, it's almost like everybody jumps into their foxhole every time something happens, or their trench, and everybody knows who's supposed to be which side of the lines they're on before anything even happens.
I never know what line I'm supposed to be on.
Well,
I skip the trenches. I go straight for the bunker.
Oh, well, have you built your bunker yet on your property?
No, I haven't. I just have a metal box out there, just in case.
A metal box.
Yeah, it fits one person. There you go. There's my bunker.
Is that for a prisoner or?
No, it's just something I found out in my backyard.
You found a metal box in your backyard?
Yeah, apparently the guy who owned the property before was a old school contractor. So there's a ton of steel I-beams and shit and metal littered in the back.
Well, if it's steel, you can make some great targets out of them. But
yeah, I got a lot of galvanized steel though.
That's not hard.
I'm not sure how well that will do for target practice
with an SKS. Well, so
I have an AR-15. I have several AR-15s.
I was watching, C-SPAN this morning, and the House of Representatives, all the Democrats go up and use their 5-minute speech time to rail about guns, and it's the same stuff, and it just makes me want to shoot the TV, Maxine Waters and every other Democrat that there ever was, using all the typical, gun slogans, gun control slogans. And one site that I like that everybody should check out is gunfacts.info. They've got a lot of good, basically it's all about debunking gun control myths, and they've got a lot of good quotes on there. So anyway, I'm gonna pop out really quick, see if there's anybody talking in the gunchannels.com/HVNS chat.
There are no loopholes, in case anyone is wondering. There really aren't.
Oh, what do you mean? The loopholes? Which loopholes?
Yeah, there's no gun show loopholes. There's no Charleston loophole. There's no loopholes. Okay, so if you think there are, go to gunfacts.org, or is it info?
Yeah, .info.
Okay, go to gunfacts.info, and you'll learn all about that stuff right there.
Yeah. So basically, it's like it'd be kind of crazy if they wanted to ban AR-15s when they didn't even use an AR-15 in this particular incident. But
I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, it's like they have their standard playbook and they keep coming and they keep running it. So, I guess the NRA and Gun Owners of America have their standard playbook and they're going to keep running it. So, like I said, everybody just jumps into their foxhole and starts, tweeting bullshit. and basically this the next election is all about. It's all about the next election. So, if Hillary wins, then we're all going to be behind enemy lines.
If Hillary wins, there's going to be civil war, and if there isn't,
I don't think
I'm going to be disappointed in the American people.
I won't. I don't think there's going to be civil war.
You won't, because you're chilling in Hawaii on a beach. You don't care.
Well, I'm chilling on Lava Rock, but
I can still see you with a beach chair on Lava Rock. Getting some of that.
That will be one of my videos.
Tans.
Well, what's wrong with getting a tan? Is that somehow make me less of an American if I'm on the beach having a?
Yeah, you're ignoring the plight of the American people by going and get yourself a tan.
Hawaii is America, part of America. So
it's not actually part of America. It's an
one of the 50
island
states.
Well, I know that, but I mean, it's not part of the mainland. It's not connected. There's an afterthought.
There's a certain amount of freedom in that, not being connected to the mainland. Like when the Yellowstone supervolcano blows, it'll all be all you guys have all the problems. But I mean, actually, it'll probably mess up the whole world because all the dust flies into the stratosphere, and starts a volcanic ice age or something for 5 years.
And that's before the New Madrid fault line, and the San Andreas fault line completely mess everything up and put half the country underwater.
So can we talk about Brexit now?
Do you want to talk about Brexit?
Well, everybody, it's like, well, the world didn't collapse yet. And it's like, nobody's left the EU yet. And the Italian banking system is ready to collapse and they're all blaming Brexit, But it's all, the Portugal and Spain banking system is going to collapse.
People are actually asking whatever government in the European Union to invoke the what is it? That one article or something?
Article 50, yeah. The Portugal agreement or whatever is that forces them to leave. There's after they invoke Article 50, there's a 2-year negotiation about the terms, of under which they leave. So, they haven't left yet. But one thing I wanted to say to my friends in the UK that I talked to just this Friday on.
Wait, you have friends?
Well, the Fox Company prepping and all the bushcrafters that do the Friday chats.
I don't know if that really counts.
Well, they're friends. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's just that they say a lot of people in the UK say that, well, the UK has been around for a long time, but the only reason the UK is still there is, well, first they'd be speaking German if Russia and America hadn't, defeated the Nazis, and they'd be speaking Russian if the United States, hadn't, won the Cold War.
I would say mostly America. Russia didn't really do anything on the English side.
On the east, they killed a ton of Nazis on the Eastern Front. That's when Hitler attacked, Russia. He lost the war there's no.
It was all
they,
over for him.
Yeah, no, they did a lot. Just because they weren't fighting on the Western Front, they were killing Nazis by the bushel load. I mean,
Well, I know that. I'm just saying, they didn't really do anything other than just fight the Nazis on the Eastern Front.
that's all. That's all. Just the entire Nazi army, was at the gates of Moscow, held up, and they had to push them all the way back.
Yet they couldn't defeat the Finns.
Yeah, here we go. We're gonna fight World War II again.
No, we're done. That's all I had to say.
But
they can fight the Nazis just fine, but they can't fight the Finnish worth a damn.
Well, they had SKSs.
No, they had Finnish M33s.
Okay, is that better or worse? Is that more like a Mosin or?
That's a Mosin that's done right, apparently.
Okay. Wow, so we're going way back into history.
We're done. Let's move on.
So somehow this is connected to Texas.
Because in Texas, you can own whatever gun you want.
Yeah, and apparently Matt's gonna rain 30-round mags on anybody that shows up in Texas. So
that is from California.
That is from California, I guess. Yeah,
but you may have to, dance on a pole for it. I think that what was the conversation said.
Was that off air or on air that he said?
I'm not sure. I think he said that off air, but we're gonna do that anyways. We're gonna go with that.
All right. Well, never enough 30-round mags, and so at the end of the month, I'm flying to California for my Behind Enemy Lines tour, and I'm gonna get load up a bunch of California guns and go shooting at the range with my dad for sure. And I don't know if he's gonna bring his Winchester because that's kind of too big to shoot in an indoor range. And the outdoor range is like, gonna be like 2 hour drive to get there. So yeah, we'll just be shooting like
you gotta bring the Winchester out.
Well, we could bring it out, but we can't shoot it in an indoor range. I mean, that's crazy.
They won't let you shoot rifles at an indoor range?
I don't think so. I mean, I've never shot a rifle at an indoor range, but
I've seen ARs being shot at an indoor range all the time.
Well,
what caliber is it?
4440, I think. So
you should be fine.
Well, I'll see if my dad wants to bring out the Winchester, but he's got a Smith & Wesson 686 and a Glock 30 and a bunch of other stuff.
A Smith & Wesson. I've never heard of one of those before.
Yeah, that's the Florida Pulse nightclub version. But anyway, let me see how many other people I can insult before this chat is over. So,
I think we're just gonna have to rename you to Stone Guy.
Stone Guy, yeah, I can be the new Stone Guy. No, I don't think I could possibly be that bad, but so back to Texas. I mean, yeah, I mean, I feel for those police. I mean, they showed up. They just went to work, didn't do one thing wrong. They weren't trigger happy, and like I was saying, like other people have stated that they, what they did was they put their bodies in between to shield the Black Lives Matter protesters from the Black Lives Matter shooter, so it's like all they ever did was save, shield people and sacrifice themselves, so that other people could live, and I can't think of anything that the cops in Dallas did wrong, except they should have put marksmen on the roof to a politically charged event. When I was a kid and I went to a pro-Israel rally in Westwood, I mean, they had marksmen up on the roof, because we have a pro-Israel rally, you figure that there's going to be somebody that's going to want to shoot it up or blow up something, and so they had marksmen up on the roof and you could see them, and I think everybody felt safer with them there. And in this case, if they had marksmen on the roof, they would have, it may not have been politically correct, but they could have taken out the guy with the SKS, it was, after 2 shots, they would have been able to figure out where he was and, return fire.
I have a question.
Shoot.
If the event that Texas ever does secede from the Union, can we call it Texit? Because then
I don't know, but if Texas
there
leaves
will
the
be
Union,
there will be a collapse of the economy. I'll give you that.
well, I do have a lot of gold and silver, and I started buying it, and it was like 13. The spot silver was $13.50, and now that it's over 20, I feel seems like a good investment. But I'd like it to go up more. But I have no control over if the world goes to hell or not. That's the world is going to go to hell all by itself. Whether I'm,
I'm just sticking with the hell on Texas. So if Texas ever does decide to secede again, we can call it Texas again, right?
Well, did they secede before?
Well, technically, you count the Civil War.
They seceded from Mexico, but
you count the Civil War.
They were on the south side during the Civil War. Yeah.
Yeah. But can we agree that we're going to call it Texas?
Has anybody asked me what I even think? I mean, people will call it something Texas. Just call it Texas. I mean, Texas is Texas.
No. Call it the Texas movement, and Texas will exit the United States and become its sovereign nation again.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll just go with hashtag Texit because Texit.
Texit.
Text it. Hashtag Texas. Wait a minute. Let me get that straight. Hashtag Texit. So text it. Text it. Did that make sense? All right. All right. Well, it's just, and there was another shooting today. I think that, at a court in Missouri, I think some prisoner like ripped the gun out of a guard's holster and shot 2 guards or something, somehow that counts as somehow that they're going to want gun control because of that one. And that was just a prisoner grabbing a bailiff's weapon, and I mean, it makes a good argument for retention holsters, but
why are we even still talking about this?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I had to have a chat about something, and I like this graphic a lot. So
okay.
Well, I don't want to talk about gun control. All right, neither do I. But it's they babble about it every morning on C-SPAN.
I know. It's not just C-SPAN; it's CNN. It's all those other news sources.
C-SPAN shows the floor of the the legislature, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. So when all the Democrats get up and do their morning speeches for 5 minutes, and all they talk about is gun control, it's like, when are they going to shut up? So
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, hashtag shut up. but
I think that would catch on faster than Texit, but okay.
Yeah, well, people are still trying to figure out the when Brexit is going to happen. So anyway, I think that pretty much at this point, everybody that has a brain has already bought topped off their 30-round magazines and their ammo storage and gotten whatever gun they want to buy before the next election. So if you're still waiting, I mean, what the hell are you waiting for? I mean, how many more mass shootings can there be? I mean, if they're gonna line up on cops, and President Obama isn't gonna even say anything about it.
I think he's pretty much resigned himself to just get another Democrat in.
I wish he would just resign himself.
I know you wish he would resign from office, but I'm saying he's probably just resigned himself, just going on and spiel about the gun control whenever he can get a word in. But in reality, he realizes it's probably going to be the next president that's going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, one way or the other. So this election does matter. So, if you're not registered to vote, you better get registered.
Vote for the Republican candidate, whoever it is, because Gary Johnson is just a rhino or a Democrat in libertarian clothing.
I like his promise to stop if he's elected president, he'll stop smoking weed. But I mean, that just has to.
I don't believe him at all. That's just like
I've heard people say that before, but
that's like telling a porn star who goes from being a porn star to a political candidate, them saying they'll stop masturbating if they win.
Well, what?
That's the point.
Well,
I don't think he'll stop. He'll be the first president to smoke a doobie in the White House
on during his State of the Union,
right?
just everybody else drinks a glass of water or stops to drink a glass of water in the State of the Union. He'll like take out a bong from behind the podium,
and then they'll have brownies at the at the back of the conference.
Right. Well, I'm sure that would qualify him here in Hawaii to, but anyway, let's see.
Yeah, and I'm joking. He will never get elected president. It's either you vote for the Republican candidate or you vote for Hillary. That's how it's going to go. Because if you vote for the third guy, you're only taking the votes away.
I like Trump, but a lot of people don't. So whatever.
Anyways, moving on.
All right. So Hell on Wheels, I saw it. I know you didn't see it, but definitely Cullen Bohannon takes out he gets pushed too far, and the hidden rebel warrior monster comes out, and he just shoots like 12 people in 5 seconds or something like that, and I think he also slashes some guy in the throat, but it was done in such a way that you could see, all you could see is the blood splurting out against the window. It's like a shadow, but you heard all the gunshots and saw people dropping and stuff, but they did it in a, I don't know, it was violent as it could be without actually showing a lot of it. So
that reminds me of one of the one general in the Spanish-American War. This
was like one of the.
Hold on, it's a tie-in. Okay, hold on. He was a Confederate officer, and he was actually a general during the Spanish-American War, and apparently he had dementia or something, because at one point when they were driving the Spanish back, he was like, come on, boys, let's get them. We got the Yankees on the run.
Right. He didn't know what war he was fighting.
No, he didn't. He was just fighting because he was an old Confederate, and he was fighting because he could.
Well, basically those Western characters, like, it was very similar to Clint Eastwood when I was watching Unforgiven at the end. I mean, everybody likes the shootout scenes, there's all the character interactions in the beginning, but I mean, I think the part that everybody really likes at the end, where he walks into the bar and said, who owns this shithole, and then he just starts blasting. So and what happens in all those movies is that one character, whoever it is, in Unforgiven, it was Gene Hackman's character of Little Bill. He doesn't realize who he's dealing with, and it's like they're steering the Titanic, and they don't see the iceberg that they're about to hit, and then the ship sinks, and that's what's interesting in a lot of the Western characters.
It was an iceberg.
Well, yeah, but the iceberg being, there's this monster in called William Money in Unforgiven, and in Hell on Wheels it's
the Kraken,
Cullen Bohannon, and but he's tried to bury it, and not all Western characters are like that. Not everybody's like Doc Holliday, where Doc Holliday would just walk right up to you and say, "Draw, you son, cool, somebody give this yellow belly prick a gun," never put off killing. My mama told me never to put off killing today till tomorrow. So never put off killing tomorrow somebody you can kill today. I mean, but most most of the characters aren't like that, and I would say that one reason is because most problems cannot be solved via gun. I mean, even in this Hell on Wheels, after he shoots everybody, as soon as he gets back to Truckee, there's the Chinese company sends a new guy who's even tougher to take over for the old guy that got killed. And so he's got the same problem with the people running the Chinese labor force that he had before. Except he can't just kill everybody, because you kill one guy and all of his henchmen, and he's replaced by another guy. So from the same company with a lot more henchmen and a whole army, actually. So, but those are the best scenes when it's when the other one character just doesn't see it coming because he doesn't understand who he's dealing with, and the dialogue in Hell on Wheels was like of Chang before he sees Bohannon and is Cullen Bohannon, Mr. Bohannon, there you are, because that's the first time that he's about to see who he really is. And so that was, but it wasn't as clear as it was in, I mean, it was clear, but the dialogue wasn't as. Clint Eastwood has some really good lines in his one, but that all the writers try. But I think the thing is, it's definitely, there's a veneer of several layers of civility that cover up, that underneath those layers of civility and politeness is, this monster that's waiting to come out and strike.
Wait, what now?
Yeah. What did
a monster? I don't know if I would say monster.
Well, in the case of Cullen Bohannon, he thinks he's a monster, and his Chinese girlfriend is there trying to explain to him that no, he's a good man. He was doing the right thing, but he feels like he's a monster, and he's tried to bury it under all these layers of civility, and because he doesn't want. I mean, because he in the previous episodes he wanted to bring in the Swede to justice to be judged at a real trial and not just kill him himself, because he didn't want to be just the flip side of the coin of the Swede. He's trying to be civilized person, and do the right and act like a civilized person, but in the end he can't. It all, when it comes down to it, and this rebel, this he's a rebel, fighter, and he feels, you can tell it, he can barely look at his girlfriend, and it's like, and she tries to tell him, but that he's not a monster, but that's exactly how he feels like. And so they have interesting characters, of course, with William Money, in Clint Eastwood. He gets drunk, goes into in town. Like I said before, he just walks straight into the room, and who's the owner of this? Straight into the bar and says, "Who owns this shithole?" With a shotgun already out. So he wasn't. He knew who he was, but it just with him, it took something different to set him off. So. Anyway, but so whatever set this shooter in Texas off, it just seems to me like it was bullshit.
It was just race, and I think he was really just looking for anything to set him off, to just have an excuse to do something horrible. He was just looking for that one excuse where he could just let loose and then just end it.
It's like maybe his, I don't know. I can't psychoanalyze someone that I don't know, but
You
I
know,
don't. There's
you
there's
could
no.
maybe argue that maybe he had some form of PTSD, but I'm not going to cover
From
for it
what?
and say that's the
From
the
what?
case.
Building latrines in Afghanistan?
Yeah, I mean, building latrines gives you PTSD. Well, it could have because that one guy in New York got PTSD from firing an AR-15, right?
Yeah, that's something when people
Yes,
just
that is a
that's
joke.
just people
That's a
do
joke.
things to get videos, their to get their hits up on their Facebook page or shit.
Well, I was joking in that point.
I know.
No, you don't get PTSD from digging latrines, no matter where you go.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was funny, but somebody, when people though who make YouTube videos where they intentionally, you know, create straw man things to argue about, and then it's and then they complain about this guy doing that. It's you know, I think that's funny that people complain about it, but people do that all the time. Just do anything to try and get your YouTube hits up or something, but.
And Dead Horse, I know, yes, he was easily brainwashed, but the problem is, if that's how our troops are going to act when they come back from wherever it is they are stationed in the United States, maybe we need to rethink on how they're trained, because if they're that easily impressionable, then there's something wrong.
Oh, I see a lot of Clint Eastwood quotes from here in the chat.
Yeah, he's a Clint Eastwood fan.
Yeah, I mean, let me see what Dead Horse is saying. Yeah, you should have armed yourself. You're going to decorate your establishment with my friend. Well,
Yep.
it's just great that I mean, I feel so unlike those people because I have no desire or fantasy about ever shooting anyone, and I would prefer to never have a fantasy about shooting anybody, and I guess
Yeah,
people do.
I never want to have to shoot anyone either.
And it's just you know and so that I don't think there should ever be any I can't ever think of any reason why you know I can't think of a valid reason for armed revolt in this country. And I think, and as far as anybody shooting policemen because they were white or any color, you know I guess he got blown. I would have thrown the bitch in a cesspool and buried him there, but I guess they blew him up with a remote controlled device, So
So if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
yes, thank you thank you for stealing which line? Oh, Terminator Salvation Line. Yes. So if you're listening to this chat, join Gun Owners of America or check out gunchannels.com because you are the resistance. And what were we plugging on Matt's chat? It was the who had a dollar for dollar matching fund.
It was Rock Island auction, and they're matching dollar for dollar whatever anyone donates for, to the NRA ILA, strictly the ILA NRA part, not NRA itself.
Yeah, the Legislative Action Committee part. I forget what does the I stand for. I know the LNA is Legislative Action, but what does the I stand for?
I think it says Institute of Legislative
Institute
Action.
of Legislative Action. All right.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it means.
And do you remember what the website was? It was
yeah. Hold on, I still got it up here. Going through a million tabs like Flippy. Oh yeah.
Oh, if you're going through Flippy's tabs, you have to skip all the porn sites.
So let's not talk about that. I'm not Flippy. So there is the website right there.
Can you put it in the gun channels?
I will go and put in the gun channels.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, yep. www.RIA, that's Rock Island Armory, freedomchallenge.com. So www riafreedomchallenge.com, and they have /# donate. But I think if you go to IRA Freedom Challenge, that website, or just, search it on any search engine, you'll get there. So there's something new you can do. If you haven't joined Gun Channels or the Gun Owners of America, or any of the other great organizations that are out there, and check that out. Hey, it's always a good time to lock and load. And I don't know. It's like, I'm not from Texas, where I'm behind enemy lines, so we have to live a little differently and not as free. But
yeah, you're never free.
Well, sometimes I feel more free than at other times. But
yeah, since we were talking about it and you said it, lock and load.
Right. There's the SKS, and hey, I like my Glock, but since Bob, earlier this morning, Bob, the biker, said that the Glock was the gun of the day. So that's my Glock, and I think he said Glock ruined. He thought Glock ruined pistol making in America.
I don't think it did. I think it just made it more competitive.
Made it more polymer. But
yeah, well, then that means we're gonna have to call Bob Never Enough Polymer.
Never enough Bob.
Never enough Bob. That's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like my Glock 17 and a lot, So
out of all the Glocks, I do think I like the Glock 17 the most.
Well,
I'm still not a Glock fan.
When I'm back in, I've never shot my dad's Glock 30, so I think it's the original Glock 30. So I guess I'll shoot some video when I'm out there on my Behind Enemy Lines tour, shooting up stuff and targets at the range. And
now, is Smeggy still going to be down there when you're there, or
I don't know if Smeggy, anybody that's listening to this chat, hit me up, PM me on at gunchannels.com/HVS or on my YouTube page. You can send me a PM there, and I'll get it. And or just say hey on Gun Channels, and I'm on there a lot. And yeah, we'll definitely like to meet some Gun Channels people and go shooting. So if Smeggy's there or anybody else from Gun Channels is in California, Southern California, at beginning of August, I'll be there and gonna have a barbecue and go shooting and have a hell of a lot of fun. Oh yeah, let me. Well, I showed you guys the car that I'm gonna be driving around, my Behind Enemy Lines tour car. It's the same cars that they had in Independence Day. It's the Grand. Where's my screen share button? Let me show you what it is. Grand Cherokee. Let me find the car. Here it is. All right, there it is. See it? You seeing that, Night Strike?
Yes, I see it.
All right, so
and we also have to plug something else that's still going on. Let me pull up the page.
All right, go ahead and plug it while I share a few pictures of this.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug gunchannels.com. Gun Channels, it's where we talk about guns. So if you're listening to this later on, on the YouTubes, and you aren't a member of Gun Channels already, what the hell is wrong with you? You should totally sign up. There's a ton of people to talk to chat with. If you don't want to talk with using your voice, you can use the actual regular text chat and talk to people. Yeah. You can send people messages. You may even be able to get in on some of these chats. So join gunchannels.com. All right. Now with that out of the way, I'm going to plug the Gun Show Loophole Tour. That is still going on. The fundraiser is still going on.
Yeah, G Webbs has got a van and he's going to be cruising around. I saw his little map.
You can still donate to it.
Long-ass drive.
You can still donate to it while the initial drive is over, but you can still donate to the Gun Show Loophole Tour, and maybe you can probably get some more of those patches because I think he said he's He's doing limited runs. He's actually making them himself. I think is what he said. He might not. He might be getting it somewhere else, but either way, he said you can still donate to help him out, whatnot. And if you can, you should. I've done what I could, but if you can, go ahead and donate to Gun Show Loophole.
Yeah, they have some really cool patches on Gun Channels. I mean, he's always got. I like the AK, Red Dawn patch, and the Gun Show Loophole patch is pretty cool. And of course, there's no such thing as a Gun Show Loophole, but
And remember, the chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall.
And John has a long mustache.
Okay.
But I saw the longest day too. So, but I think Clint Eastwood's movies have better quotes, like get 3 coffins ready. My mistake, 4 coffins. But hey, what? How about 2 mules for Sister Sarah? That was a good one.
I don't know like all of his quotes. Because remember, in a lot of the Clint Eastwood movies, a lot of the westerns that he did, you notice that at least with the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly trilogy. Well, granted, I know that was just one movie out of 3. It's like a fistful of dollars and a few dollars more. But out of that, those spaghetti films, you notice that character, while he does speak and he does have lines, but they're few and far between. He's a very quiet character. And I don't know if that was Clint Eastwood, starting out in acting, or if that was just how he played the character.
Well, it was the directing, is what it was. I mean, in the screenwriting, but
you noticed that, right? You noticed that.
Yeah. Well,
he was a quiet, calm, and collected character.
Well, it's just that as he got more into acting, he realized the power of a good dialogue and a good screenplay. And so he got better dialogue lines. The later his later movies has better dialogue, and obviously Unforgiven was one of his.
Oh yes, we know. He had a ton of lines in Bonanza. Okay,
he just got better. He was in Bonanza.
apparently,
he was in Rawhide. I don't remember him being in a Bonanza, but I don't remember every Bonanza show off the top of my head. He was in Rawhide. I mean, that was the Western that kind of helped him get into film. When they saw him, Sergio Leone saw him.
He might have been on Bonanza once or twice.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was an actor and they needed him. So, but I don't remember an episode with Clint Eastwood. I think I would have.
I don't think he was, but he might have. Who knows?
Yeah, well,
I'll tell you one guy who was on there that you might recognize. Michael Landon was on Bonanza.
Oh God, and them and that Chinese chef. There was something funky about that, but anyway.
I just figured I'd mention it.
All right. Well, so thanks to everybody for tuning in. I'm going to check one last time on the gunchannels.com/HVS chat, see if anybody out there is typing stuff.
Dead Horse says you're right. He was on Rawhide.
Oh.
Yeah. So, all right.
Bonanza? There was never a show called Bonanza.
No, there was never a banana show. I don't think I'd want to watch that show.
Bananas, yeah. Well, a lot of people on Gun Channels are bananas, but hey, thanks everyone for tuning in. And hey, check out tomorrow night is your show, right?
Yeah, hit or miss. 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Yeah. Whatever it is, Hawaii time.
What?
Banana.
I need to put a banana on wheels for the next graphic.
Yeah, just get an old wagon and put bananas on make the wheels into bananas.
Yeah, okay, that's gonna be a great graphic, and
then find the text for the Bonanza logo and just make Bonana. There you go.
Yeah, you need to have the burning map thing, but all right. We do have a lot of banana trees out here, so it should be hard to find one. But speaking of that, banana is actually a fungus, in case you didn't know that.
Banana?
A banana is a fungus. Yeah, it's one of those little known Hawaii facts that we pick up.
No, it can't be.
It is a fungus.
It can't be.
You will win any bet because people think it's not, but you will win any bet if you bet that it's a fungus, because it is. All right. And that's your a completely stupid fact of the day. Hawaii Volcano Squad fact of the day, that a banana is a fungus. And so speaking of fungus,
it's not, according to according to science. They say it's a fruit.
It's a fungus.
It's not.
It's a fungus, dude. Google it. Anyway, so I don't know what else to plug. I was trying to figure out something to go to from speaking of fungus.
I think we should call it.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. This has been another wonderful Lock and Load. And whether you've got a Glock or an SKS or whatever you got, now's a good time to stock up on ammo. See you guys next week.
Hold on. Don't turn it off yet. There we go.
Right.
Now you can kill it.
That's what I'm talking about. Now I can shut it down. I'm not killing anything.